The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yes, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I just pulled some things out of Wikipedia because did you guys all see it? Yeah, everybody saw it. Good. Okay. 2011 mystery thriller based on the 2005 novel by Swedish writer Stieg Larsson. Did anybody read the book perchance?
My wife
you
did.
read.
I read them all.
Oh, okay. Oh, good.
The original three, anyway.
Yeah,
the
that's
first
all I
three
did.
I read.
Oh, that's great. I just
Hornet's Nest and
Spider Web. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all on fire is one of them, I think.
Yeah, and that's another one. Yeah, they were all good, but I remember at the time thinking the names were driving me crazy. All those Swedish names that I remember having to keep going back and forth trying to figure. Okay, who's this? Who's this? Who's this? I remember in reading that, and I was just wondering. But since you've all read the book, anyone that didn't read the book, did you find the names hard to follow or no?
Yes. Yeah, I did. In fact, I think they could have gone to his organizing board a few times more to help me keep people straight.
Yeah, I remember it being very hard in the movie. I mean, in the book, in the movie, because I knew what was going on. Of course, I knew who was who and what was what. But I remember thinking, I wonder if the movie has that same effect. Obviously, okay. It starred Daniel Craig as journalist Mikael Blomkvist and Rooney Mara as Lisbeth Salander. It tells the story of the investigation to find out what happened to a girl from a wealthy family who disappeared 40 years ago. Salander is a computer hacker. Let's see, it was chosen by the National Board of Review as one of the top 10 films of 2011 and was a candidate for numerous awards. But it did win an Academy Award for Best Film Editing, and Rooney Mara's performance earned her a nomination for an Academy Award for Best Actress. Based on the book, I don't know if you need to know who produced, but directed by David Fincher. The thing, I kind of went through it quickly and I highlighted, but obviously my highlighter isn't working because nothing is showing up. Well, anyway, so the reason why I of course I thought that this movie had so many layers and so many stories that it was one of those movies that I felt you really had to think. It wasn't something that you could just let come in and get. You really had to, at least I think I remember, that you really had to think about what does all this mean and how these journalists, how they work and what they do. And then it was also a big story against government, misogyny, people that don't like women, the difference between a rapist and a murderer, and all that stuff I thought came together pretty well with this. So, I mean, I liked it, if that's the right term to use, but I find it a really interesting movie. And I thought Craig and Rooney Mara did really good jobs in there. Now, what I did read, one other thing I read, that Craig was supposed to have gained weight, and I thought he looked kind of skinny in this, but that's the only thing that I remember going, gained weight.
Said he gained 40 pounds.
But where was it? I mean, there's a scene in there where he's in his underwear.
Same place I keep mine.
Yeah. Yeah. I know all you guys. But anyway, that's the only thing I was like, what? I did not get, I did not see that at all. To me, he looked even thin. There's a scene where he's in his underwear and it's like, his arms looked thin, and when he was James Bond, I thought he had a lot more meat on him than he did in this thing. But anyway, so what'd you guys think?
Do you know the name in Swedish for this book and movie, the Swedish movie, is Men Who Hate Women.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
the
that was the original name. Yeah,
translation. Yeah.
yeah.
I couldn't help myself. I watched the Swedish one as well. And
Ah,
I think it's probably half again better movie than this one.
I didn't know. I think that you guys didn't like watching subtitles. I couldn't read. I didn't know if everybody would like watching subtitles. I agree with you, Mike. I thought the Swedish one was really good. I thought they were both good, but
When I
I
got
thought
done watching this 2011 one, I don't know, raise your hand if you thought you were watching Knives Out. I mean,
oh,
I did.
really?
Think about how the character was similar.
The character was similar, and it's kind of like he
Really?
was the police detective there doing that job. And then they kept having these room full of family members.
Mhm.
And I thought, geez,
Oh, that's
I had to look and
interesting.
see if it was the same author or
But
screenwriter.
Mike, that guy didn't he have that awful Southern accent? And he played that dumb kind of down
Oh yeah,
home Southern lawyer. So I didn't think I can't even I don't get the characters at all, but I see what you mean about the locate, that's interesting. I never it occurred to me, but that's an interesting
just
point.
because he's in both, and yeah, it
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
terrible Southern accent in
Oh,
Knives Out.
awful,
But
awful.
I just thought the way it played, investigation, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I guess the only other thing I noticed was that I guess the book probably, Bill, went into a lot more about the tech stuff, because here you're supposed to pretty much take for granted that she can boom, boom, boom and mirror everybody's computer, break into their house. I thought that's asking a lot for us to believe all that goes on in the
Tech world.
split second.
I mean, she's supposed to be a savant, she's like,
Yeah.
remember, she's like when he was in the room and he says, do you want to take a photograph of it or something? She goes, no, I got it.
Yeah.
And so she was brilliant and all that.
I made some notes about, for someone that was a ward of the state or whatever, at a young age, she developed some pretty amazing life skills: computer hacking, motorcycle racing, martial arts, and emergency suture administration.
Yeah. With dental floss.
Yeah, right.
Do you speak Swedish, Mike?
I like the movie, but the actors are in there. I love the punishment to her guardian. Love that a lot, especially her tattoo skills.
Yes.
The daughter saved the day. If the daughter didn't look at her dad's wall and see what she'd recognize as Bible quotes, he'd still be looking for the killer. So really, she had to break through evidence right there, kind of by accident. This movie does portray Swedes as some.
Oh, you froze.
Uh-oh.
I'm sure that's not true, but it's not a flattering portrayal of Swedes.
No. No. Well, Swedes are kind of like that existential, and it's a wonderful country. It's beautiful, but
Well, I'm a big fan of the one on this Zoom call, so let's go there. So that would be you, Mike.
um,
And I was glad that Daniel
oh, you're freezing up
Peter
again.
Where's
Pete.
finally asked you to stay 23 years old.
You keep cutting out, Pete.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a connectivity issue. I apologize.
Yeah.
Okay.
What
Well,
was 23 years old?
He asked what I was wondering the whole movie. What the hell's she doing being a ward of the state at 23?
Yeah, I couldn't figure that out either.
Okay, so now have you all the rest of did they even make sequels to this? Do you only know what happens?
No.
Books?
Three. There's five.
There's
Well,
five.
there's not any sequels to the first three that are in English.
But
Like this.
Right.
You heard her say that she became a ward of the state because she burned her father up, 80% of her father.
Yeah.
That is the topic of the next two novels. And I don't know what happens after that. The author, he died after the third novel. And I don't know if his son or some other person picked up the rest of the series.
It was his
But
the woman that he lived with, but basically his wife of like 20 years or 30 years, but they were never married. So that caused a problem, but she was his editor. She worked as an editor for him. And so she was able to finish, I don't know how many, but I know that she did end up finishing, I guess the last one.
mhm. But if you do read the other books, you'll find out why she is the way she is, and most of it has to do with her father. So
Yeah.
I guess in this movie, it didn't show it. In the Swedish movie, it shows it.
Oh,
more
it shows her throwing the match into the car, right?
She throws gas on him and then lights it.
Yeah.
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 I will tell you that when I was reading the book, it had me hooked when she tattooed her counselor. I mean,
I know.
I wonder if they're going to show that in the movie. And yes, they did. It's like,
Yep.
oh wow. It was a big scene in the book too. It's like, oh my gosh.
I know. But you felt so, at least as, I just felt so good that God, she finally got, someone back. It seemed like she had been thrown around from house to house and institutions to institutions, the whole system just, it helped her skills, Pete, but she was just thrown around as like nothing. And it was just nice to see the revenge happen. At least I thought.
Yeah.
The endings are different in the two movies, slightly.
Yeah.
How does the Swedish one end?
Swedish one, she lives in Australia and she's a sheep rancher. And that's where he finds her. And he brings her back from Australia. And Harriet. And then
Oh, yeah.
and then at the end, Salander, she steals the guy's money.
Winstrom.
Yeah. And she ends up getting out of a car and she's beautiful after all this goth kind of thing that was going on and walking away instead of just coming in and sitting down with the Vanger family or the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't remember. Were they that much different? I just, and again, I haven't watched, I did watch the Swedish one a while back, and then I recently watched this one. I don't remember them being that different. You thought that?
I think it's a little different. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well,
I
I
was-
have to chime in here as a girl in the dragon tattoo, Numi Rapace purist. I refuse to watch these new ones. I mean, how could anything be as good as the Swedish ones? Absolutely no fucking way.
I think
And the male and the star was Numi Rapace, the girl in the dragon tattoo, not Daniel Craig.
And
Who
it's a
looked way too good to
it's
be
a
that
full back tattoo.
Yeah. Yes.
Anyway, it's just like I couldn't bring myself to watch this Americanized nonsense. It was like,
Oh
why?
no, it was still in
It
Sweden.
could never
It
be as
wasn't
good
it
as the
wasn't really
Swedish one.
Americanized. Do you think? It
Well,
wasn't.
I think it was a Sony deal.
But it was still took place in Sweden. It was all about Sweden. It
Yeah.
was just that it had a different. I agree with you, Chair. I really like I just thought that you guys wouldn't like reading subtitles. That's why I said, well, we'll do it because they're very similar. I think they're both really good. and very
How old
similar.
are we now? Like 71 years old, and we complain and whine about watching subtitles? What? My
Well,
Christ.
I
Jesus
didn't know.
Christ. What the
Yeah.
fuck?
I watch the American movies with subtitles.
I watch
Right.
everything with subtitles now. I do, especially the English
Oh, now
films.
that's an abomination. That is an abomination. Watching subtitles on a movie in your own language? Oh
Well,
my God.
if it's an
Sometimes they're
English
hard to
movie,
hear.
Shit.
yeah.
Yeah, but you
But
got
anyway,
those black boxes with white letters all over the place. You know?
If you
Anyway,
can't
whatever.
concentrate on two things, that's too bad.
yeah, that's because
Yeah.
of your age. Sorry.
No,
Can
I
we
mean,
get an
if it's a language you don't understand, but if it's English, like, why bother? Like, so you miss a word or two here and there. Big deal. That's life. You hear
Can we
every
get-
single word everyone says in your life? No.
Can we get an
whatever.
exception for the Irish movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, Irish and English, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think,
And really, you have to watch the other two movies to get the whole story. I mean, at least 2 and 3. I had no
Mhm.
idea there was a 4th and 5th one out there.
I think those are just books, though. They didn't turn
Oh.
those into movies, did they?
Oh, I see. I don't know.
I don't
But
think so.
anyway,
I
yeah,
think
the whole story comes about, and her father is really not the main villain. It's her therapist, her guide, whatever his name was.
Or-
yeah.
You know, the whole ending of the third movie is just like great.
It
So-
is. It was good. It was a good series all the way around.
so the Swedish movies, they made 2 and 3, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they made
Yeah, 2 and 3 with the same with Numi Rapace and the guy
right.
Nyquist,
Yeah,
Nyquist or whatever.
Who plays
Yeah.
Michael Blomkvist,
Yes.
Yeah.
Blomkvist.
Yeah, Blomkvist.
I think the Swedish gal became a bigger star than the American gal.
I think she already was, wasn't she, Terry? Wasn't she always really a big star in Sweden before this?
I don't know.
She's like a star. I mean, she
have no
became a
idea.
star here. She did Alien. I know that. Alien. One of the final Alien movies where she's a star in that. She's played other roles too, but anyway, yeah, the Naomi Rapace.
Yeah.
Is the American female lead related to Kate Mara?
She's related to the Rooneys of
The
Pennsylvania.
Steelers, and one
yeah.
side of her family owns the Steelers, the other side
Oh,
owns the
okay.
Giants.
No,
I'm thinking-
yeah, not a
Mara.
bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She's not hurting.
No,
Yeah.
no. She doesn't need the money.
Well, I didn't see the outstanding Swedish version of this, so I have to rely on what I saw of the American version. But I have to say that the ending was really sad because it took so much for her to break down her resistance to letting anybody in
Yeah.
forever. And then she finally found somebody she thought she was in sympathy with, and then she watched him walk off with another girl. And
Yeah.
I thought that was particularly poignant because it was so hard for her to get over all the horrible male stuff that had happened to her.
Right.
I thought that was good.
Yeah, that I thought, and it was so sad. It was so sad at the
Mhm.
end because you don't really get to know her, even as a moviegoer, you didn't get to know her because she was so closed in everything that she did. You know, you looked at her as a brilliant computer hacker, but as far as anything human, there wasn't much there. And you just saw, if Gary were here, the arc of the character, you just saw little bits. There might be a tiny twitch where it might be a little bit of a smile. And then there was just a few things that would happen till by the end, going through, making sure that jacket that she got him was exactly the one that he liked and all that, and spending so much money for it and then just throwing it away. And it was like a symbolic of, yeah, it's garbage. It's all the same. Yeah. So
Which
I agree.
was she a latter day Gene Hackman, who was so closed in the last movie where he was kind
Yeah.
of everything
Yeah.
private?
Yep. Well, it is funny. I suppose if you were a hacker and you knew that anybody could be watching you at the time, you might, you know, I was thinking back in, I don't remember, and I might be wrong, but back in 2010, which isn't that long ago, I don't remember security being that big of a deal. I mean, it is now, but back then, I don't remember. I mean, it always has been somewhat, but I just don't remember. I remember thinking that it was believable to me at the time that somebody could actually get into your computer, without your knowledge, or the camera is on without your knowledge and all that stuff. I just thought it could happen. I think we're more aware of it now that it doesn't happen, but back then, were we? I don't know. I don't know if I was. Mike Mahoney, what'd you think?
I thought it was a compelling movie. The one thing that I had a lot of difficulty with it, and maybe it was that I wasn't paying attention at the right moments, but I thought I was. It seemed like it took an inordinately long time to line up the two storylines between Elizabeth and the journalist. I mean, they don't. I actually remember saying when I watched this, there was a scene with Elizabeth where she does something that finally connects me to him, to Daniel Craig's character in this thing. I literally went out loud, finally, okay, because I saw these two apparently related storylines going on, but I didn't see them intertwining until about an hour into the movie, and that threw me. I didn't pick up that she was a computer tech savant or a hacker until deep into the movie, and I don't know if it was just me not paying attention at the right moments. I thought I was paying close attention to it, but I did like the thing, the idea the movie made you think. I mean, you had to stay with it, and I thought I was, but I missed a couple of important components about that, and then I'm thinking maybe one of the reasons she was with I don't know where Pete went. Maybe one of the reasons she was award of the state at 23 is maybe the welfare laws in a country like Sweden, which has a heavy dose of socialism. Maybe you stay award of the state until you're 25. Maybe, I don't know. But I mean, that could be one reason for it. On one level, this sort of reminded me of an Agatha Christie mystery, in the fact that the island sort of serves as the room, or the car, the Orient Express, or something like that, and Michael, brings them all together, or brings them together individually at various places of the movie to assess their stories and whether or not they've got guilt. They've got the possibility of being the murderer on that, and then the twist of Harriet actually getting out. I didn't see that coming at all, and I mean, just those sorts of things. Like I say, I had to struggle because it took a long time for me to connect the dots between the two leading characters. But it was an interesting movie. I had heard of it before, and actually thought just because I'm not that well versed in movies, when I heard the title, "Girl with a Dragon Tattoo," I was thinking it was some sort of Eastern martial arts film. Or, really?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Um,
Oh,
and turned out I was another thing I was wrong about.
no.
What can I tell you? Those are my
Yeah, Mike,
thoughts.
yeah, interesting. Mike Sanders, what do you think?
I read the 3 books and I saw the original Swedish movies, and I was a Noomi Rapace fan when I started it. But by the time I got to the end of it, I thought, well, I can understand what they're trying to do here a little bit. And Rooney Mara kind of grew on me a little bit. She wasn't Remy Pace, but she grew on me a little bit. And
Yeah.
I was trying to just accept it for what it was. They're, the one we're going to watch for tonight. And I think I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't quite as angry about it as Terry was, but I was willing to, I still want to go back and watch the other 3, the 3 in Swedish.
Yeah.
I just hadn't had the time to do that. And I had
I wish, and that's my fault, because I also liked the Swedish one, but I just assumed that you guys didn't like, and I don't know where I got that assumption. We know what that means.
Oh, I know.
Assumption.
When you said that last week, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Not me. I watch all
Yeah,
kinds
I
of
wish
foreign
you
movies.
would have said, because I would have. I really liked the Swedish one, and
And I do
Really
with
ought to be
American
a
movies too. I mean, I know.
recommendation for next week because it's really a way better movie.
pardon me.
And I said it should be a recommendation for next week. It's just a way better movie than this one. I think
Huh.
it explains more.
Interesting.
And it could be that I just got done watching the other one,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but anyway,
Wow.
It's fresh on
it's a
your mind. I
shame to
mean,
miss the Swedish version.
it was, I don't know how many years ago that I watched all 3 Swedish versions in a row. And it took a while for some of those things to come back. And I'm sure there's some things that didn't come back too. But
Yeah.
and
They
just
were
Bill,
all
I
on
have-
Netflix a long time ago, and I had them on my list to watch, and I never did watch any of them. But
Did you
really,
get to watch
the
this one,
Swedish-
Jeff?
The Swedish versions were?
yeah, well, if there was all 3 of them, so if the second 2 were in Swedish,
Yeah.
so they must have been. So
So the three Swedish movies carry the same storyline, but break it down into three movies. Is that what I understand in here?
No, it's
no.
3 separate books.
Okay.
Each book. Yeah.
What I was saying, Mike, they play on her father and her involvement with her father.
Michael and Lisbeth stay the same, but everything around them is different.
Yeah.
They're kind
Different story.
of,
So the journalist and the hacker are common roles.
and I
And
think
the same people played them.
the next book or story kind of, they have to reconcile the fact that they're not as close as they could have been. And because something comes up where they need each other again,
Yeah.
Like the comment Jeff made, they have to work that out.
Mm-hmm.
but it's actually a pretty good series. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when it came out, when did the books come out? 2006?
Probably about 2003, I think, maybe.
In the way I saw it, it kind of started a whole Swedish detective genre that became real popular. I mean, that's about when I got interested in reading all the Henny Mankell books about Kurt Wallander and all that too. He's a Swedish.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
They made a bunch of movies about him too, and anyway, there's all sorts of things going on in Sweden with detectives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We even made a trip to Sweden to see some of these places where all these Swedish detectives were business. I was in one of the restaurants there where they filmed The Girl with Dragon Tattoo. I don't know if it was in this movie or the other one, but so we made our way around Stockholm, and then the Kurt Wallander stuff was all over in Malmo, yeah, Malmo on the other side of Sweden. But interesting because it was just a real. I mean, in Malmo, where they had like a museum for Kurt Wallander. And I mean, it was the same for The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I mean, the whole city was, everybody knew about it, and it was
Really. It's kind of like those. What was that French one? With Tom Hanks, and he plays the doctor. The Catholic Church hated it.
Oh, the Da Vinci Code.
That's
Yeah,
it. Thank you.
yeah.
What they have the Da Vinci tours and all that stuff over in Paris. Yeah. Yeah, the same thing.
It's like going to Albuquerque and seeing the Breaking Bad locations.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, there you
Right.
go.
Do they have
Pollo Loco.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Pollo Loco.
I thought it was a
Um,
good movie. I just, given the choice, recommend seeing the first one first.
Well, yeah, that's
But,
it's so interesting. I second guessed myself, so I won't do that again.
This one made good money. I think it made
Oh
like,
yeah, I forgot to. Yeah, it's only cost 90 million to make, and it made something like 237, something like that.
yeah.
So it's yeah, and it won lots of awards, and a lot of the critics, both, they kept putting both of them very similar in terms of how good they were,
Mhm.
each in their own right. Again, like everyone, I like the Swedish one, but I think this one was good too. If we didn't know the Swedish one, this was good too.
It always confuses me how this movie didn't involve a lot of special effects or anything. How did they spend $90 million? I guess part of that was on stars' salaries.
Probably salaries and flying over, keeping everybody warm. That's what I remember. It was so damn cold. Winter became another character. Someone had mentioned that the winter itself is a character in this, because it just reminded me of Chicago. It was just that bone chilling cold, and every time you saw it, it was that gray, those shadowy gray feeling. And then in the scenes where they're being when Mikael is being, in that harness and all that, they're bright white and everything is so, right at you. It's just done so well, I thought, on so many different levels. Anybody?
Pete sent me a text. He's having a hard time getting in. He said something's wrong with his Wi-Fi, I guess.
Oh,
Bummer.
Bummer.
too bad. Yeah, too bad.
Whose pick is it for next week?
Mahoney, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's me.
Okay. Do you have one, Mike?
Yeah. Are we ready, or have we finished this discussion?
No.
I don't have anything else. I just I thought it was I thought it had a good cast. I mean, I liked seeing Princess Bride lady, what's her
Robin Wright.
Robin Wright, and also
Christopher Plummer.
Christopher
Yeah.
Plummer. And then like at the very end, that Joel Kinnaman, he showed up at the very end, and I'm looking on the credits, and he shows up. He's the last credit too, but he's gone on to have a pretty good acting career doing stuff. But I think he just had that one little bitty part, and it's one of the things I like watching an old movie,
Yeah.
at least 10 years older, see if those stars have any of the stars have panned out. He's one of them sort of did. And Rooney Mara, I don't recall seeing her, but I did see she's been in it said that her partner is, do you guys know who her partner is?
Mm-mm.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Wow.
Oh my, really?
I guess she's doing okay because I mean he won Academy Award for Best Actor a couple years ago, right? Or who won?
No, he just won the. Oh no, yeah, it was a couple years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he won for the Joker.
yeah.
That'd be some interesting dinner conversation.
It sure would. Oh my.
Yeah, the other thing is I'm not a big fan of Daniel Craig's James Bond, but I really did like him in this role. I thought he did a good job with
Yeah.
this all the way around, and makes me reappraise his work a little bit. So,
It's so funny. The Swedish one, the guy is not nearly
Yeah, he's not a
jaw-dropping
star at
handsome.
all.
Um,
Right.
But it does show you as the movie goes through him jogging. In this one, Daniel Craig never displays any athleticism, but in the other one, the guy's actually out there in the cold, getting his
Yeah.
jog in.
And he's kind of paunchy. He's a little
Yeah.
not paunchy,
Yeah.
but just he's not a star. It's like the star was Naomi, but not Blomkvist. He wasn't. He was just kind of secondary to her, I thought, in the Swedish one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mahoney, what do you got for us?
Going to go back. We've looked at a couple of different movies here recently with Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese in it, and looking at a character that just sort of goes down the drain. Taxi, of course, being one of them. And I wanted to revisit another Scorsese and De Niro movie that addresses the same thing, but didn't have quite the same impact as Taxi, even though it's after that. And that's The King of Comedy in 1983. And it's got a pretty compelling cast. De Niro, Sandra Bernhardt's in it, and Jerry Lewis,
Yes.
plays a pretty compelling role as a Johnny Carson like talk show host, and so it's another one of these movies where De Niro and Scorsese find a troubled character, and his failings lead him into a desperate place, and this thing's on Vudu and Netflix, Apple, Prime Vid
Oh,
has got it. So a lot of the regular places,
good.
and it's a 1983 movie.
I
Which
never.
I didn't realize it was that old. But anyway,
I know, but it's good. It's very good.
You're saying 43 is old?
no, I'm not. Given the fact that I'm only 42.
There you go.
Did I tell you guys how this is when I might have told you already, you see, being old. I told you what that person said when I had mentioned the 80s. I was with a group of different aged people, and this young person, younger than you, Jeff, said, I said something about the 80s, and they said, "You mean the late 1900s?" I went, "What? The late 1900s? It sounds like I just died. I just died when I went, oh my God, that's when you know you're OTH, over the hill,
Wow.
But yeah,
Oh my God, I just died. The late 1900s. I still cringe when
Yeah,
when he-
see, all that stuff hit me when when people like John Roberts became the Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, and Pope Francis became the Pope. Both of them were in their middle 50s, and I'm going, you're old if you're beyond the age of the Supreme Court justice or the fucking Pope, So
No. It is amazing. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
But we're not losing it.
no.
I've never heard of this movie before, so I'll be looking forward to seeing it.
Oh, it's good. Yeah.
109
Good one.
minutes.
Was that all?
Yeah.
Well, I got a recommendation of two actually. So my brother's kind of a film noir nut, not nut, but he likes the film noir. So he was telling me about a film called The Woman in the Window. Edward G. Robinson. This is really going back. This is 1944. Edward G. Robinson. I guess there's I think it's FX has, or it might be PBS, has a series about film noir. And then they have, kind of like us, they have recommendations of different films. This one was called The Woman in the Window. It's with Edward G. Robinson. It is kind of an interesting, Edward, I mean, most people think of him being, Caesar and the head of the mob, but he just plays a straight character. But it's kind of an interesting movie. But in trying to watch it, the other movie came up called The Woman in the Window, which is a 2021 movie with, I think it's Amy Adams. And it's kind of like a redoing of, not the same movie at all. Completely different, same title, completely different movies. The one in 2021 is kind of like another version of Rear Window, basically. She's an agoraphobic and sees a murder. And but the other one, the old one, if you get in that mood, you want to hear a saxophone and you feel like, seeing all those shadows, and it's pretty good. It's called The Woman in the Window. And it's kind of interesting. And I don't know what else. The Sinner, I still have been watching that one. If you haven't seen that, talk about a character. Bill Pullman plays a very, he's a detective, of course. It's a detective series, and he's a homicide detective, and he's always looking for the why, why, and he's a flawed character himself. Quite flawed. So it's kind of an interesting series if you feel like you want to go down that route.
What's the name of it?
The Sinner. And I think it's on Netflix. And there's but every season is one case, and there's usually about 8 episodes. I think it's about 8 episodes, and it'll be one case that he's trying to solve. So it's pretty interesting.
I've been watching Shogun.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That's on Hulu. And
yeah,
I mean, I read the book many years ago. I don't know if I saw the previous version. I might have. But yeah, it's really well done, isn't it, Donna? I mean, they just really...
I think it's wonderful. I remember that book was wonderful and yeah, it's probably in the would you say the 80s, maybe? When you read the book?
1900s.
Yeah.
You knew that was coming.
I read it. It didn't feel that late in the 1900s, but
well,
I did. I remember it being a great book. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really a good book.
Most admit our Clavel stuff was Chinese, and this one,
Yeah.
This was got into all the Japanese stuff. So,
yeah,
but it's good.
it's very good. Yes, it's really well worth. And if you don't have Hulu, it's also on a regular TV, and it's coming out once a week. Gosh, I can't remember. Can you get FX? I mean, I think
Yeah,
it might-
yeah. You can get FX on a cable package.
Yeah, if you guys have that. So if you don't have Hulu, I think you can get it that way too.
It
And
comes
it's
out on
really, really
FX
done
one
well.
at one night, and then the following day it comes out on Hulu.
Ah, I see. Okay. Okay. But it's really good. It's definitely worth, and it's so interesting because, well, there's subtitles when they're talking Japanese, and it's just really good all the way around. Just such an interesting culture, and it really just open your eyes up to the Japanese culture.
Mm-hmm. Then I saw the film at the Sphere in Las Vegas. There's only one, but I guess they'll be making more, and that's all this high definition stuff that goes on. I mean, everybody's seen the outside of the Sphere, you know, that's all high definition images too. But when they're not having concerts and things like that, they play video inside too, and it's kind of like being in a high definition planetarium or something. You know, the video is all around you, but the video is called Postcard from the Edge, and I think it's probably about 45 minutes long, and it's just kind of a ecology movie, put it. You know, they do a little thing about people leaving Earth because we're destroying it, and then they start showing all these scenes of Earth, you know, like the beauty of nature and things like that. But it's okay. I mean, it was just a video that was made especially for that theater, and it's interesting that was a $200 ticket to go see.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding.
No.
I'll be skipping that one.
Yeah, really.
I'll wait till it comes to Netflix.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
hope you did really well with your
Yeah, you're
your
winning.
under bets.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't lose as much as I usually do. So
I guess
right.
that's a good day.
yeah.
You did there.
I've got a couple of things I want to do real quickly. Bill, I did watch Black Hand Straw Man.
Oh yeah.
Not the entire documentary, but there was a thing on YouTube that was about an hour and 20 minutes where Terry talked about it and showed clips, and it was very entertaining, and I enjoyed all.
Yeah, I watched that too. I was trying to find the movie, and all I could find was that speech.
Was that? Yeah, me too. I couldn't find it, the actual thing. And then my pick this week is, or my recommendation is Palm Royale on Apple Plus. Anybody
Oh,
caught
I
this yet?
heard of no.
This is Kristen Wiig put this thing together. It's a 10-part series, but you get 3, and then it goes to week. But if you like Kristen Wiig, it's Kristen Wiig, Carol Burnett, Allison Cheney. It's all these women, and Palm Royale is not far from Mar-a-Lago, I think. I think it's kind of a twist on them. But she is trying to join this club, and nobody wants her to be in it. And she crawls over fences, and she does all kinds of crazy Kristen Wiig stuff. And I got hooked on that, so I wanted to throw that one out there for folks. And that's it.
Where was that one?
Oh, that one's on Apple Plus TV. But I did have one more thing to say, and that is, although it's my 5th anniversary today, tomorrow it's Jess with a G.
Oh, congratulations to you.
Yeah,
Wow.
congratulations, Jeff.
No wonder you got
Wow.
Putting out on
Fantastic.
us, huh?
The way the story goes, and I don't know if it's true or not, Jeff, but they call you and they say, "Do you really want to do this?" Or they ask you a question. And what did they ask you, Jeff?
Well, we call them dry runs when they call you in and for whatever reason their lungs aren't good. They don't do the transplant. So I had a couple of those, and this last one they called me up and wanted me to measure my chest, which seems odd because it seems like they'd know that. But so I measure my chest and I tell them, and they say okay, and I didn't hear back. So my assumption is that the lungs weren't going to fit me, but we think maybe Mike got him because Mike's bigger than me by quite a bit. So, so And then I got called, I was there that same day you got transplanted. I was in the hospital getting prepped for the next day. So
That's cool.
Wow.
Wow.
So we were like ICU buddies, we were lung buddies, we were
Wow.
went through the whole process together.
It does seem
Except
silly. They'd call you and ask you for a measurement. They certainly had to have taken
right, sure.
countless
Yeah.
times.
you would be surprised now when they measured my chest, but when they did it, the dietitian did it. You have to see it. You have to see a dietitian as one of the last things you do pre-transplant.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, before you go, hang on." And she went and she got a measuring tape and she had me stand up and she put the tape around me. She goes, "Okay, now we're done." And so I just,
Huh.
oh well, the way they do things, it's not up to me to determine. But
Well, I'm glad both of them fit you guys. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes. That is
Yes.
fantastic.
It is.
and
It's great.
Jeff did a great thing when he left. He did this video of him just walking out the front door, which I totally was envious of, because it took me a wheelchair and climbing into a car and all that sort of thing. No, he just walked right out the front door.
Huh. Young whippersnapper. Yeah.
He was-
Yeah.
He was
Kids.
kicking my ass in the hall all the time. We had to walk around the hall, and I'd be going walk past.
In the late 1900s. Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, I think you guys would love Palm Royale. If you like Kristen Wiig, you'll like.
Yeah. Yeah, she's good. That'd be fun.
I like her. I know in a couple weeks I'm gonna be missing for we're gonna go down and try to catch the eclipse.
Yeah.
Oh,
Find her.
Where are you
Oh.
going?
We're gonna go down by Table Rock. We got a place to stay in Table Rock, and we're gonna go south of Table Rock a little bit into Arkansas.
Wow.
And is that
Eighth of April.
how many?
8th of April.
8th. April 8th.
two Mondays from now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. My brother-in-law and niece are going to go to Sykeston to view it.
Yeah, you don't have to go
Wow.
to St. Louis, do you?
No, not too far. And actually, we're going to have like a 97% eclipse. So we're just going to go outside the office and see most of the eclipse.
Yeah.
We have the glasses.
You know, the last one, it was like it came pretty close to Kansas City, but it was like 100% up in St. Joe. So we went up to St. Joe. We got there at my aunt's place up there, her area, and it was like it was cloudy. And so even though we were in like 100% area, it was cloudy and you couldn't see it.
Oh, how disappointing.
Kind of ridiculous to get in a car and go somewhere because the roads were just packed with people trying to get, to an open area. And so I don't want to put a lot of effort into getting somewhere this time. As
Yeah.
you can see it from home. You can see like 80% of it from Kansas City. So
Yeah, Bill, I was in the same boat you were. I was in St. Joe as well, because that was supposed to be totality. And the cloud cover moved in overnight. It got not even dusk like dark, but it did get a little darker. And the astronomers up that were up there were still flipping out because they were seeing what they wanted to see, but for the great unwashed, it was pretty much a bust. On the other hand, my wife and a neighbor drove into rural Clay County, which is not far from my house here in Kansas City, and it was sunny, and they saw 99% eclipse, and
Oh.
yeah,
would have been just fine, wouldn't it?
yeah. And the thing about it is I'd been up there since 5 that morning to be in position, and you're there to cover an eclipse that doesn't happen, and and you basically don't have anything to show because it just looks like it's a cloudy day.
Yeah.
Did they cut to you?
Huh?
Did they cut to you?
Of course they did. You know,
Here's some compelling footage from St. Joseph.
You could have a drawing. This is what it would look like.
yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
If I would have had I been thinking, I would have had a whiteboard with me. I could have done it.
Hey, Terry, what does
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
aurora behind you represent?
You're muted,
Yeah.
buddy.
You're muted.
Oh, yeah, he is muted. I might be able to. There
Now
you
he's
go.
disappearing.
From
Yeah.
Finland. I don't know. I think it's a, I don't know, ice crystal. I don't know.
Okay.
I rarely completely read the descriptions of these photos I get
It's cool looking.
from APOD.
They call them sun
Yeah.
dogs, is what they call them.
Huh.
When it's around the sun, I
Yeah,
can't tell if it's around the sun. It's
All right.
around Terry.
Sun's back.
Call it a Terry dog.
Terry.
He's a
That's
halo.
my- no, it's a halo. It's my
Yeah,
halo.
it's a
double
halo.
halo,
It's
yeah.
Halo
Yeah.
because he's so,
Because
angelic.
He's so angelic, yeah, right.
yeah.
Hey, Terry,
he's so,
I don't know if you were here, but we were asking, Chris has been gone a couple weeks. You know if she's okay or,
Yeah, she's fine.
okay.
Dropped her off at the airport this morning in San Jose.
All right.
wow. So she's traveling.
Yeah, right now she was delayed. So she thought she might be able to make it, but obviously
No
not. 'Cause
problem.
the flight from Vegas to KC was delayed.
Hmm.
So
Can relate to that.
You
Okay.
can watch us on the rerun.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get her.
Okay, I'm gonna go get some dinner. All right.
Thanks for
Yeah.
the movie, Donna.
Good choice. Yeah.
all right.
Yes, thanks.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
See you.
You all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.